Hey everybody, it's Matt with a Matticus video, and today we're going to be reviewing Spice and Wolf. This is the first part of the Doubleheader series that I'm starting, and it's going to involve comparing a light novel of an anime to the actual anime. And the series itself will be taking a book and applying it to the other medias that it has. And just a quick overview of what type of book slash anime this is. It's kind of a slice of life, slight adventure series. It's very laid back. It's for the people that watch a lot of anime and kind of get burned out of the constant action that you'll see in most animes, such as Fairy Tail, Naruto, One Piece, so forth, so on, to where those do have their slow moments. It's backed by most action, and this has very light action. Spice and Wolf itself is written by Isuna Hasekura. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. My Japanese is eh. But the series itself revolves around the characters Holo and Lawrence. Holo being a spirit slash goddess of the wheat. She is a wolf spirit, and she is known as the wise wolf because she has been around for a long time and has a lot of wisdom because of that. And you start the series by following Lawrence, who's a traveling merchant, and he's visiting a town in his normal route around the places where he sells his goods. And the town itself is a wheat producing town, and this is the town that Holo oversees and helps with the crops and whatnot. But she's been in this town for centuries and has slowly been forgotten by the townspeople. They don't worship her anymore or look to her for guidance in their crops, and so she feels unwanted. Thusly, she wants to go back to her homeland in the north. And to do this, she kind of hitches a ride unknowingly in Lawrence's cart by hiding in the wheat. And Lawrence eventually discovers her completely naked and in his cart one night as he stops to make camp, and he thinks it's just a random person that's jumped in his cart to hitch a ride, just a random hobo of sorts, and until he notices that she has wolf ears and a wolf tail. And throughout the series, and the series itself in the novels is 17 novels long. All but one of them have been translated into English from the original Japanese, but the last one hasn't been, so I don't even know the ending. I've researched some to know what happens, but the anime community itself is usually pretty good on keeping spoilers to a minimum, so the series itself is very good. It really does well in introducing you to characters and giving you their backstories properly. And when it was announced that it was going to become an anime, it was very well received by the most part. Not really at the time, but now it has a very good following. And they made 2 seasons. Those are based off volumes 1, 2, 3, and 5 of the novel series, plus a couple from his side colors, which is a breakaway from the main storyline, just as a way to get backstory on the 2 main characters, along with some of the other, fun characters that they meet in their adventures. And the anime itself is very well done. It has a very good animation quality, and the soundtrack is fantastic. But that's a given in anime. If you don't have a good soundtrack, you shouldn't even be there. But throughout the series, you see as they go from town to town because they start out in the south, and Holo's home country is Yaltsu, which is in the far north of the world that is this anime. And the world's kind of based off of a medieval Europe kind of feel. It's, horse and carts and yada yada, small towns, shepherds roaming the countryside, so forth, so on. And you see as they go to each town, and Lawrence, being a merchant, always gets himself in some crazy predicaments, and he's able to use Holo's wisdom and expertise in, certain ways to get himself out of these predicaments. It goes anywhere from, them being caught up in a scam involving a bunch of merchants that came across the narwhal, to just a town that the stock market exploded essentially, and him losing all of his money and having to get it all back. And throughout the series, at the beginning, it's just, two people traveling together, but, as I guess can be expected by two people that travel all the time, a lot of the time by themselves, a love story does begin to develop. And it's fun because in the beginning, neither of them get the other's feelings about it. Eventually, it does become more of a forefront. Zoom. But it's a very fun little anime if you want to take a break from action. It does have some action. She can transform herself into a gigantic wolf. A big enough wolf that it can swallow a human whole. And, during those scenes are really where you're going to find the action of the anime. But those do come pretty far and in between. Overall, I would say give this anime a shot if you've, never heard of it, or, thought that it's not your style. Give it a chance. The first couple episodes you're going to be, I don't know about this, but it does pick up in a different way than you would expect. It kind of sucks you in, really. And as it is with, most novels in Japanese that get translated to English, it does take a time. The novel series itself ended in 2011. Like I said, it still hasn't been fully translated into English. So it's a slow process, but in my opinion, it's well worth it. And the novels themselves, you can find them on Amazon for $10 a pop, and they usually have about 200 to 300 pages. So well worth the money, in my opinion. And they're very well translated. There's a couple in some of the issues that got translated kind of wonky, and some of the illustrations got mixed up between the books. Like, it's in one novel they got the illustrations from the last novel put into this one, and the one beforehand got that one. It's rather funny, really. But like I said, that's not enough to really distract you from how the book really tells its story. And the author himself is very good at what he does. He explores different ways of getting his story across. He at first, just does, each book has its own separate storyline. It, goes in a time sequence. And then he'll do like a side novel that breaks away from that. It can go several months into the past and, tell a story that happened in between the big adventures. Like, it could be just, them trying to find a good place to take a Sunday nap. It's just, wacky little things like that. And then he tried a dual novel to where it was a 2-part series of, one story. And that one wasn't as well received by the fans of the series, but still, it was a very good storyline, very well done. And I like this because, the series, it's very in-depth. It's the world, it takes place in, it has its own currency system, its own, monarchies and lordships and whatnot, and its own cultures. And you see similarities in between, the real life in there, such as the churches. At the time that this kind of relates to the real world, the church was the ruler of pretty much everything, and it's the same in this series. It's the church pretty much is the highest power in the land, and it's fun to see Holo being a pagan god spirit, has to avoid the church, but at the same time she disguises herself as a nun. It's kind of funny, just a fun little thing, and you meet a lot of fun characters along the way, such as other traveling merchants, former royalty turned into peasant. It's a fun little thing to do. So I highly recommend it if you are into anime, and anime that bases well off the novels, because the 2 seasons they did based off the book were very close to the actual book itself. They did a very good job adapting it. I mean, you're gonna expect some things that for time's sake that they might cut out, and they add a couple things here and there, but nothing crazy. So it's not like a Prisoner of Azkaban from Harry Potter translation from book to movie, to where it's like, why did you cut all this out that actually helped with the story? No, anything they cut out was filler, essentially. So, like I said, if you like a slow-paced, anime to watch, just to relax after a long day, or if you like a slow-paced book to read, give it a shot. Highly recommend. I'd give it a 8.5 to 9 out of 10. But anyway, that's all I have for this one, and stay tuned next week. Next week I'm doing my Disney week. I'm going to be kind of doing a week-long countdown, essentially, of top 5. I'll be doing 5 videos next week, which I say that, and I'm going to stick to it. And it's going to be, my top 5 favorite Disney movies. So stay tuned, and y'all stay awesome. All right, everybody. See you later.